Hello, my best students, and welcome back to Native Explorer. I'm so happy you're here with me today. Thank you for choosing this time to listen, to learn, and to grow. In this episode, we're going to talk about something very special: why the heart sometimes knows the truth better than the mind. Now, don't worry if that sounds deep. We're going to keep it simple and clear so you can understand every word and also practice your English at the same time. Think about it. Many times in life, your brain says one thing, but your heart feels something else. For example, your mind might say, "This is safe, this is logical," but your heart whispers, "No, something is wrong." Or maybe your mind says you can't do this, but your heart says try. You're stronger than you think. In this episode, we'll explore why that happens, why sometimes our heart can guide us better than pure logic, and how listening to your heart can change your decisions, your relationships, and even your future. And while we talk about this, you'll also be learning English naturally. You'll hear simple sentences, useful vocabulary, and clear explanations. You can even repeat after me to practice your speaking. Remember, this podcast is not just about ideas. It's about growth. Growth in your English and growth in your life. So get comfortable, open your ears, open your heart, and let's begin. What is the heart and what is the mind? Before we dive into why the heart knows truth better than the mind, it's important to first understand what we mean by heart and mind. These two words are not just about physical organs inside our body. They also represent different ways of thinking and feeling. When we talk about the heart and the mind in this podcast, we are speaking about two different parts of us. One that deals with emotions, feelings, and intuition, and the other that works with logic, reason, and thoughts. Let's break them down in more detail so you can understand them better. First, let's talk about the heart. Now, when I say heart, I don't mean the actual organ that pumps blood in your chest. In this case, the heart represents your emotions and feelings. It is the part of you that helps you connect with others. Feel joy, sadness, love, fear, or excitement. Think of the heart as a feeling guide. Imagine you're standing at a crossroads in life. You need to make a big decision, but you don't have all the facts or clear reasons to help you decide. What do you feel? Maybe you feel nervous, happy, or calm about one option. That feeling is your heart giving you a signal. Let's look at an example. Imagine you're meeting a new person and right away you feel that they are friendly and trustworthy even though you don't know much about them. That's your intuition at work. Intuition is a kind of knowing that doesn't need logic or explanation. It's like when you hear a song that touches your heart, and you don't need to understand the lyrics perfectly to feel the meaning. The heart is mysterious and powerful in that way. It can tell us things we don't fully understand with our minds. That's why we often say listen to your heart. The heart helps guide us in personal choices, relationships, and even big life decisions, even when the mind doesn't have all the answers. On the other side, we have the mind. The mind is where we do our thinking. It's like a thinking machine that helps us understand the world using logic, reasoning, and knowledge. The mind is all about facts, analysis, and thinking clearly. For example, when you are solving a math problem or figuring out the best route to get to a new place, you use your mind to think logically and find the right answer. The mind loves to break things down and make sense of everything in a clear, ordered way. It asks questions like what's the best choice and what's the right reason to do this. Let's look at another example. Suppose you are trying to choose between two job offers. One job might pay more money, but you don't feel excited about the work. The other job is lower paid, but makes you feel inspired and happy. In this case, your mind will look at the facts, the salary, the benefits, and the work schedule to help you decide logically. The mind thinks about what makes sense in terms of practical reasons. It will try to calculate which choice is the right one based on logic and facts. But as we all know, sometimes the mind doesn't have all the answers. Sometimes no amount of thinking or analyzing can give you the right decision. For example, if you are making a decision about a relationship, the mind may struggle to understand why you feel so strongly about someone. The mind might try to find logical reasons to support your feelings. But the truth is, the heart already knows why you feel that way. The heart doesn't always need logic. It simply knows how to guide you through your emotions and instincts, even when the mind is still searching for answers. So in this section, we've seen that the heart represents our emotions, intuition, and feelings, the part of us that knows things without needing logical explanations. The mind, on the other hand, represents our thoughts, reasoning, and logical understanding. It's where we make decisions based on facts and information. Both of these parts are important and valuable. The mind helps us analyze and understand the world logically, while the heart helps us connect with our true emotions and intuition. In the next section, we'll talk more about how the heart can actually know the truth better than the mind, especially in situations where logic and reason don't have all the answers. But for now, remember that the heart and the mind are two very different parts of us, and understanding them will help you see why sometimes the heart knows the truth before the mind does. How the heart knows truth. Now that we understand the difference between the heart and the mind, let's look more closely at how the heart knows the truth, sometimes even before the mind can understand it. This part is very interesting because many people around the world have experienced this. A moment when they felt something deep inside and later they realized it was true. That deep feeling, the one we cannot explain with logic or words, is what we call intuition. Intuition is a quiet voice inside us. It is not loud like thoughts or emotions, but it is strong. It helps us feel what is right even when we don't have all the information. Let's imagine a situation. You meet someone new for the first time. They smile, they speak kindly, and everything seems fine. But deep inside something feels wrong. You don't know why, but your heart feels uncomfortable. Your mind might say they seem okay, but your heart says, be careful. Weeks later, maybe you learn something about that person. Maybe they were not honest or kind. Then you say to yourself, I knew it. I felt it from the beginning. That is your intuition. It's your heart speaking the truth before your mind could explain it. This happens not just with people, but also in big life decisions. Sometimes people feel called to do something, to move to a new city, to start a new job, or to change something in their life. Others might ask them, why are you doing this? It doesn't make sense. And the person might answer, I don't know. I just feel it's the right thing to do. Again, that is the heart speaking. It's the deep knowing that cannot be fully explained with logic. The person is not making the decision with their brain. They are following a quiet truth inside their heart. The heart also guides us in relationships. Think about someone you love or care about. You don't love them because of a list of reasons. You don't say, I love this person because they are exactly 175 centimeters tall and they like the color blue. I know you love them because you feel something special. Your heart connects to them. That connection is full of emotion, care, and truth. Even when that person makes mistakes or has bad days, your heart still knows I love this person. The mind might try to question this feeling. It might ask, why do you care about someone who sometimes makes you sad? But the heart answers with something stronger than words: love, loyalty, and emotional truth. Sometimes the heart also helps us protect ourselves. Maybe you were about to make a decision like taking a job or joining a project and everything looked good on paper. But something inside you said, no, this doesn't feel right. You might not have had proof or reasons, but your heart gave you a warning. Later, you find out that it was not a good place to work or it didn't match your values. In this way, the heart can keep us safe. It sees things the eyes can't see and knows things the mind can't explain. Now, let's be clear. The heart is not perfect. It can also be influenced by fear, stress, or past experiences. But when we talk about the heart knowing the truth, we are talking about the calm, deep voice that comes from within. Not panic, not pressure, but a quiet and peaceful knowing. It's like a soft light inside you that helps guide your path. Even when everything outside seems dark or confusing, you don't always know why it feels true, but it does. That's the heart's special power. This is why many wise people, even great thinkers and leaders, say things like follow your heart or listen to your inner voice. They understand that truth is not always in books or data. Sometimes truth lives in the heart. It lives in how we feel when something is real, meaningful, or right for us. And sometimes that truth is more powerful than all the facts and logic in the world. So next time you are confused or unsure about something, take a moment and ask yourself, what does my heart say? Not your fear, not your stress, but your true quiet heart. You may be surprised by the answer, and later you might see that it was right all along. In the next part of this episode, we'll talk more about how the mind tries to understand truth and how it sometimes struggles with things the heart knows easily. But remember, your heart is not weak. Your heart is wise. It is a part of you that connects to your deepest truth. And sometimes when your mind is busy thinking and thinking, your heart already knows. How the mind tries to understand truth. Now that we've talked about how the heart knows the truth through feelings and intuition, let's take a closer look at the mind. The mind is an amazing tool. It helps us think, plan, remember, solve problems, and make sense of the world. It is the part of us that asks questions like why or how and tries to find answers using facts, logic, and reason. The mind wants to understand everything clearly. It doesn't like confusion or mystery. It wants everything to make sense. For example, let's say you are thinking about moving to a new country. Your heart might feel excited and free when you imagine starting a new life. But your mind will quickly begin to ask many questions. Is this a good idea? What will the cost be? What if I don't find a job? What if I make a mistake? These questions are not bad. In fact, they can help you prepare. That's what the mind does. It analyzes the situation and tries to protect you by thinking through every possible outcome. But sometimes the mind overthinks. Overthinking means thinking too much, so much that it becomes a problem. You go back and forth between ideas. You imagine all the bad things that could happen. You try to find the perfect answer, but it never comes. You begin to feel stuck. This is one way the mind can confuse us. It wants to be 100% sure before making a decision. But life doesn't always give us that kind of certainty. And while the mind is still thinking, the heart might already know what feels right. Let's look at another example. Imagine someone is choosing between two careers. One is safe with good money and a clear future. The other is their dream job, but it's risky and uncertain. The mind will start comparing numbers, job security, what others will think, and so on. It will say things like be realistic or don't take a chance. But maybe the heart feels strongly about the dream job. It feels meaningful and exciting. The person might feel alive just thinking about it. Yet the mind says, what if it doesn't work? And in the end, the person may follow the mind not because it's the truth, but because of fear and doubt. That's another challenge of the mind. It is often influenced by external opinions. The mind listens to what society says, what family says, what friends expect. It says people will think you are crazy or this is not what others do. It wants to fit in. It wants to be accepted. But the truth is sometimes the truth is not popular. Sometimes what is right for your heart doesn't make sense to others. And if we only listen to our minds and to outside voices, we may lose the connection to our real inner truth. The mind also loves facts, numbers, and rules. It tries to create a map of the world where everything has a reason. But not everything in life works that way. Emotions, love, dreams, and passion cannot always be measured or explained. For example, can you explain why music makes you feel emotional or why a sunset makes you feel peaceful? The mind can describe the science behind sound or light, but it cannot explain the feeling inside you. That comes from somewhere deeper. That comes from the heart. Of course, the mind is not the enemy. It is very useful. It helps us learn, plan, and stay safe. But it should not be the only voice we listen to. When we let the mind take full control, we might become afraid to take risks, afraid to feel, or afraid to follow our dreams. We may think we are being smart, but in reality, we are only protecting ourselves from fear, not from truth. Sometimes the mind misses the truth because it is trying too hard to understand everything with logic. But not all truth can be seen or explained. Some truth must be felt. When we try to solve emotional problems with only the mind, we might feel frustrated. For example, in relationships, your partner may be upset and your mind tries to fix the situation with logic. You say, but I didn't do anything wrong. Or, you're not being reasonable. But what your partner needs is not logic. They need empathy, connection, and love. These things come from the heart, not from the mind. So what have we learned in this section? The mind is powerful, smart, and helpful. It helps us understand the world through logic, reason, and knowledge. But it also has limits. It can overthink, doubt, and become confused by too many choices or outside opinions. Sometimes it tries so hard to find the truth that it misses the truth that is already inside us. The truth the heart has been trying to tell us all along. In the next part of the episode, we'll talk about how to find balance between the heart and the mind. Because while the heart can guide us with feeling and the mind can help with logic, the best decisions often come when we listen to both. So stay with me as we continue this journey together on Native Explorer. Heart versus mind, finding balance. Now that we've looked at how both the heart and the mind work in understanding the truth, it's time to talk about one of the most important things in life, balance. Just like a car needs both the accelerator and the brakes to drive safely, our lives need both the heart and the mind to make the best decisions. The key is finding the right balance between the two. Both are important, but they each play different roles. The heart is powerful. It knows things deep inside. Even when the mind doesn't have all the answers, the heart can guide us through our feelings, our instincts, and our deeper truths. But the mind is equally important. It helps us think, plan, and analyze situations logically. It makes sure we consider all the facts before making decisions. Without the mind, we might make impulsive or emotional choices that don't make sense in the long run. But without the heart, we might become too focused on facts and lose sight of what truly matters to us. So, how do we find the right balance between the two? Well, the first thing to understand is that both the heart and the mind are important in decision making. The heart might feel the truth first, but the mind helps us understand it. Let's look at an example. Imagine you're deciding whether to take a new job. Your heart feels excited about the opportunity. It's something you've always wanted to do, and it feels like the right move. But your mind is asking, is this job secure? Will I earn enough money? What will my family think? The heart says, go for it. The mind says, wait, let's think this through. This is where the balance comes in. The heart has already felt the truth, but the mind can help you plan. Make sure the timing is right and prepare you for what comes next. The trick is to trust both. You don't want to ignore your heart's feelings just because the mind is asking a lot of questions. Similarly, you shouldn't follow your heart blindly without considering the practical aspects of a decision. Instead, listen to what your heart says, and then use your mind to analyze the situation. Ask yourself, does this make sense? How do I feel about this decision, and what steps can I take to make it work? When you combine both, you can make better, more balanced decisions. Here are a few tips on how to trust both the heart and the mind. Give yourself time when you're making an important decision. Don't rush. Take a moment to listen to both your heart and your mind. Sometimes the heart knows the answer, but the mind needs time to understand why. Give yourself space to think and feel. Listen to your intuition. Your heart speaks quietly. It's not always loud, and it's not always easy to hear, especially when your mind is full of questions. So, take a deep breath and listen to how you feel. Pay attention to that gut feeling, the one that tells you what's right. Even if you can't explain it right away, check in with your mind. Once your heart gives you a feeling or instinct, it's time to use your mind. Ask yourself logical questions. Can I make this happen? What are the risks? What are the benefits? Your mind can help you think through the practical aspects of the decision. It's like putting a plan in place for the feelings your heart has already identified. Stay open to both. Sometimes your heart and mind might not agree. That's okay. The key is to stay open to both and allow them to work together. If your heart is saying yes, but your mind is hesitant, explore why. Maybe the mind is pointing out a concern you hadn't thought about. Or maybe the mind is just overthinking. Listen to both voices and then choose a course of action that feels aligned with your values and goals. Reflect on past decisions to help you trust the balance between your heart and mind. Think back to past decisions you've made. When did following your heart lead to success? When did listening to your mind help you avoid a problem? Reflecting on these experiences can help you gain confidence in using both the heart and the mind in future decisions. It's important to remember that while the heart may know the truth first, the mind can bring that truth into focus. Think of it like a light bulb. The heart is the electricity, and the mind is the switch that turns on the light. The heart shows you the way, and the mind helps you see it clearly. In some situations, the heart might need to lead. For example, in personal relationships, love, and dreams, your heart is the best guide. But in practical matters like finances or safety, the mind is there to keep things grounded and balanced. The best decisions often come when we allow both the heart and the mind to do their job. Finally, trust yourself. Both your heart and your mind are parts of who you are. They both have important wisdom to offer. When you can find balance between them, you will make decisions that are not only logical, but also true to who you are. In the next part of the podcast, we'll look at how both the heart and the mind can work together in real-life situations, making our decisions more powerful and meaningful. But for now, remember, balance is key. Listen to your heart, trust your mind, and use both to guide you through life's important choices. Real-life examples. Now that we've explored the balance between the heart and the mind, let's look at some real-life examples where the heart knows the truth better than the mind. We all face big decisions in life, whether it's choosing a career, making personal decisions, or deciding who to trust. And sometimes the heart feels the right answer even before the mind can understand it. In this section, we'll explore some common situations where the heart's feelings guide us better than logic. Example 1. Choosing a career path. Imagine you've been studying for years to become a doctor. Your mind tells you that this is the right choice because it's a respected profession. You think about the good salary, the job security, and the respect people will have for you. Your mind is thinking about all the practical benefits. But as you continue your studies, something doesn't feel right. You feel drained, unmotivated, and unhappy. Your heart whispers, this isn't what you really want. Maybe you want to become a photographer, a teacher, or a writer. Something completely different. But your mind is filled with doubt. What if I fail? What if my family is disappointed in me? What will people think if I change my career? Your heart knows the truth, though. It knows that the only way to feel fulfilled is to follow your passion, even if it's risky. So you decide to follow your heart, even if it doesn't make sense at first. You start a new career in photography. It's not easy, but over time you find joy and success. Looking back, you realize that your heart knew the truth before your mind could understand. It's easy to get caught up in logical thinking, but following your heart led you to the life that truly makes you happy. Example 2. Personal relationships. Let's talk about relationships. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations where we need to decide whether to stay with someone or leave. The mind often tries to make logical arguments. They are good for you. They provide financial support. You've been together for years. But the heart feels differently. The heart knows that something isn't right, that the relationship no longer brings you happiness, or maybe it feels toxic and draining. For example, imagine you've been dating someone for a while, and at first everything seemed perfect. But over time your heart starts to feel heavy whenever you're around them. You feel anxious, sad, or disconnected. Your mind might say, but they're a good person. They love you. It's not that bad. And maybe everyone around you is telling you that you're being too emotional or overreacting. However, deep down your heart is telling you that this relationship is not right for you. It's hard to explain, but you feel it. Your heart knows that it's time to walk away, even though the mind is scared about the future or what others will think. In the end, listening to your heart, even when it's difficult, can lead to greater peace and happiness. Example 3. Making big life decisions. Another time when the heart knows the truth better than the mind is during big life decisions. For example, imagine you're offered a new job in a different country. The pay is great and the company seems excellent, but you're feeling torn. You've built a life in your current city. You have close friends, a stable routine, and you feel comfortable. But your heart keeps telling you, this new job could be the adventure I've always wanted. Your mind, however, is full of worries. What if I don't fit in? What if I get homesick? What if I fail? The mind is thinking about all the reasons you might not succeed, but your heart is excited about the new possibilities. It knows that this job could bring you a chance to learn new things, meet new people, and grow in ways you've never imagined. It might not be easy, but it feels right. In the end, after thinking it over, you decide to follow your heart and take the job. You move to the new country, and although it's challenging at first, you soon realize that it was the best decision of your life. Your heart guided you toward an opportunity for personal growth and new experiences, while your mind would have kept you stuck in comfort and fear. Example 4. Trusting your instincts. Finally, let's consider trusting your instincts in everyday situations. Imagine you're at a party and you meet someone new. They seem friendly and your mind tells you, they seem nice. Let's talk to them. But as the conversation continues, you start feeling uneasy. Something about their energy feels off, but you can't quite explain why. Your mind is trying to find reasons to like them, but your heart says something is not right. In this situation, your heart is guiding you to trust your instincts. You might decide to walk away or keep your distance even if there's no clear reason why. Later, you find out that the person was not who they appeared to be. Maybe they were hiding something or were not as trustworthy as they seemed. Your mind might have tried to convince you otherwise, but your heart's intuition helped you stay safe. As we've seen in these examples, the heart often knows the truth before the mind can understand it. Whether it's choosing a career, making decisions in relationships, or trusting your instincts, the heart speaks to us in feelings and emotions that can guide us toward what is best for us. The mind, on the other hand, can sometimes get in the way by overthinking, doubting, or focusing too much on facts and external opinions. But the key is not to ignore the mind. The mind has its place in decision-making. It helps us plan, analyze, and think logically. However, the heart often has the first answer, the one that comes from deep within us, connected to our true desires, values, and dreams. And when we can listen to both the heart and the mind, when we find balance between them, we can make decisions that are both true and wise. In the next section, we'll summarize everything we've learned today and talk about how you can start applying these ideas in your own life. But for now, think about these examples. The next time you face a big decision, ask yourself, what does your heart say? And what does your mind think? The answer might surprise you, but when you trust both, you'll find a deeper, more meaningful truth. As we come to the end of today's episode, let's take a moment to summarize the main points we've discussed. Throughout the podcast, we've explored the idea that the heart often knows the truth before the mind can fully understand it. The heart speaks to us through feelings, emotions, and intuition, guiding us in ways that sometimes logic cannot explain. Whether it's choosing a career path, making decisions in personal relationships, or trusting your instincts, the heart often has the first answer, the one that feels right deep down inside. But the mind is also important. It helps us think, analyze, and make decisions based on facts and logic. The challenge is not to choose one over the other, but to find balance. By listening to your heart, you can connect to your deeper truth, your passions, and your values. But by using your mind, you can think critically about the situation and make sure your decisions are practical and grounded. Together, the heart and mind can help you make decisions that are both wise and true. So, as you go through life, remember to trust both. Trust your feelings and intuition, but also use your mind to think through your decisions. It's not about following one or the other. It's about combining both to create a balance that will guide you to the best choices for you as English learners. This lesson is more than just about decision making. It's also about how we can trust our own inner wisdom while learning and growing in a new language. Sometimes when we don't know all the words or grammar rules, we might feel unsure. But your heart knows the truth. You can do it, and you're on the right path. As you continue to practice your English, remember that the mind helps you learn the rules and structures of the language, but the heart can guide you to communicate with feeling and emotion, to express yourself in ways that words alone can't always capture. When the heart and mind work together in your English learning, you'll not only speak better, but you'll also connect more deeply with others. Before we finish today's episode, I want to thank you for listening. I hope that today's topic gave you some valuable insights, not just about the heart and mind, but also about how we can apply these ideas in our daily lives and in our English learning journeys. If you enjoyed this episode, thank you for being here with me on Native Explorer. I hope it gave you not only new English practice, but also a new way to think about your life. Remember, the heart and the mind are not enemies. They are partners. Your mind gives you logic, and your heart gives you truth. When you learn to trust both, your decisions become wiser, calmer, and more powerful. Come back next time for another conversation where we learn English step by step and also grow as people together. Until then, keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and keep listening to that quiet voice inside you. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I can't wait to share the next episode with you.